Hi. Those who've been joining me for morning prayer will remember that at the moment we are looking at the book of Judges in the Old Testament readings each day. I like the book of Judges because the stories are fantastic and it's like comic strip in its excitement. You have Samson with his great strength and you have a very overweight king who is stabbed, and you have that rather gruesome story of one being killed with a tent peg. But one character I want to talk to you a little bit about now is the character of Gideon. He is a very interesting character. Gideon had a nice life going. He looked after his father's farm, and he was quite happy just pootling along, doing what he enjoyed doing. But one day that all changed. We read in Judges chapter 6 these words. Now the angel of the Lord came and sat under the terebinth of Ophrah, which belonged to Joash the Abiezerite, while his son Gideon was beating out wheat in the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said to him, "The Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor." I wonder what Gideon thought of that. "O mighty man of valor." Well, yes, more like an ordinary everyday farmer. Gideon said to him, "Please, Lord, if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? Where are all God's wonderful deeds that our fathers recounted to us? Did not the Lord bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord has forsaken us and given us into the hand of Midian." The angel appeared to Gideon and said, "The Lord is with you, Gideon, you great warrior." And Gideon turned to him and said, "Well, forgive me, but it doesn't really look very much like the Lord is with us. Looks rather more like he's deserted us. All the great things that he's done in the past that have been passed down to us, where are they? God's deserted us." In the end, Gideon was obedient to God, and Gideon put together an army to fight the Midianites. And you will remember the story. The army was cut down and cut down and cut down until eventually there were only a few hundred men to fight the Midianites. And yet Gideon won a huge and mighty battle with just those few hundred men, because God was with him. He trusted in God. And Gideon became a great military leader. Not because he wanted to be, but because he was obedient to God. And after his great military victories, the people got together and said to Gideon, this is verse 8, chapter 8, verse 22 of Judges, "Rule over us, you and your son and your grandson, for you've saved us from the hand of Midian." Now, by this time, Gideon had learned quite a lot. He'd learned that God actually was with his people. And Gideon said to them, "I will not rule over you. My son will not rule over you. The Lord will rule over you." See, Gideon has learned quite a lot over his life. And you would think that would be the end of the story. Gideon won great victories because he obeyed God. The Midianites gone, God's people under God's rule again. But that is not the end of the story. Gideon did something very strange. He got a load of gold from people, and he melted it down and he fashioned it into an ephod, which was a part of a priestly garment. It was a massive thing. This, it weighed 1,700 shekels. And verse 27 of Judges 8, we read this. Gideon made an ephod and put it in his city in Ophrah, and all Israel hauled after it there. Well, perhaps Gideon had made a mistake, and the people of Israel were now going after this idol. But the next few words are very striking. And it became a snare to Gideon and his family. This is the great Gideon who's won all these battles. He's turned into an idolater. Now, there's so much we can learn from the life of Gideon. You know, God calls each one of us to do his will, to bring glory to his name. And for every one of us, it may be that we're quite comfortable where we are, and we're quite happy to say, oh no, you've got the wrong person, God. You've got the wrong job. It's not me you want. But it's when we step out for God that he meets us and uses us. But even when we do that, it is possible for us to begin to take the glory for ourselves, for us to be proud in what we've done, and for us to end like Gideon, an idolater far from God. It's a fantastic story, full of real encouragement, but also ending with a real warning. Now, may the encouragements be an encouragement to you when God calls you to do something, when God calls you to be bold for him. Step out in faith. But be careful, lest you take any of the glory for yourself, because the glory belongs to God alone. I'll see you again soon.